Hello, everyone. This is the 9th of April. You are in the Gathering Convergence Room, home of the Heal the Earth Initiative in the Beacon Library. And today is Tuesday, the Keeper of the Flame Beacon. And we have our Wisdom Keeper, Gail Thomas, with us today. Hello, Gail.
Hey, Shonda. Hey, everybody. Happy to see all of you today, the day after the big eclipse. And I just want to honor that eclipse and all the archetypal energies here on Earth with the songs that came to me after the last eclipse in 2017. And Shonda's going to play the first one, recognizing the mountains and the ocean and the archetypal energies here on Earth that go beyond words. The folds of mountains grow wider than the sky. Inner power, like the rainbow, arise with every sigh. We watch the souls of humans so quickly passing by. Inner power, like the vine grows throughout our many lives. Hey, 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 hey. When souls speak with the mountains, we all take time to cry. Inner power, like the storm rolls, shown to every eye. We watch the waves of oceans I'm in on the Hayas. Integrate.
Hey, 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 hey.
When time speaks with the elements, we all look deep inside, realize our human disguise, as nothing really dies.
Thank you all. That's how we integrate. Those Hayas, those vocables, were original instructions that we all came in with in this wave of humans so that we could integrate when we share our big events and our songs and our big stories, that we could join our voices together, and they are sound vocables so that people who speak different languages can sing together and integrate together. So I'm still encouraging us to integrate this big event of the eclipse yesterday. And I want to ask if you'll all look at the lyrics to this one in particular now. And if any lines or thoughts come to you, please share those. Part of that integration process is also sharing our experiences in community so that we can deepen into our direct experience and our understanding with other members of our community. So please take a look in the chat at those lyrics and tell me if any particular words come up for you, or anything anything you want to ask or talk about in the lyrics of that song you just heard.
The thing that came up for me is even though there's distractions and not, that's probably not the appropriate word, but even though there's other voices, is to remember to be your own voice and to tune in with
Those energies, with those archetypal energies that come to us so infrequently. Yeah. Yeah, and that is what helps us find our own voice and connect with our soul, that actually brings us to the purpose we hold and the gifts that we bring at this time to share with everybody. And of course, we need to remember when things are huge like this, that archetypal energy can overwhelm us. They can overwhelm our unique, authentic voice. And the thing that balances them is the instincts, our basic human animal instincts. And these show up in our dreams when the animals show up. So anytime we feel that inflation, that ego identity inflation from the archetypal energies, the bigness of them, the overwhelming feeling of the archetypal energies and over identification with those energies from the ego mind. We can remember to go to our power animals, go to our basic human instincts that actually do keep us alive, where our ego identity will not keep us alive. Those instinctual helpers and patterns are what keep us alive. Bring us back to balance after these huge events. Does anybody else see anything in those lyrics that they want to talk about or share?
Becky, come on in.
Oh, they were amazing, beautiful lyrics. Very evocative. And like I've seen this, like the replenishing rain and landing on those beautiful mountains. And well, yesterday I did my own little ceremony during that time, and I got given a song for like the first time in a long time because I don't think singing is my strength. But I just, at first I use a singing bowl, nice big C note, I think, and I would hit it first in the east and then go all the way around, and then in the south and go all the way around and four directions. And so I did that 4 times after I sponged and everything. And then I just started singing, and it came out like power to the kinship way, and power to the sun and moon, power to Mother Earth, and yeah, it just kept coming. It was really awesome.
Do you want
So
to
it's
share
nice.
that, Becky? Shonda, there's a little noise. Is there anything we can do?
Yeah, Becky, you've got a Bluetooth niche, baby. Can you maybe log out and come right back in, see if it clears your audio up?
Log out and come back in. Okay,
Yeah,
be back.
just leave and click back in.
And share that
Okay.
song with us, Becky, if you want to. When
I
you
don't
get
know if
back.
I can, Gail.
No, sometimes you got to practice.
Yeah, it's a good thing to have her do.
So,
So,
yeah.
yeah, that was what I was picking up. There she comes. I first saw the lyrics, and when I saw the "Hey Hey," I knew that was a Helka song. And it's like, I said, okay, why? You remember earlier I said, oh, okay, I know what that is. But I
But
rarely, I mean, I heard the lyrics during the video, but I just read them again in the chat. And they are powerful. They are so connected and so tied. And that that's an amazing song. And I want to remix that with you someday.
Oh, yeah, I'd love to do that. That'd be tons of fun. Actually,
Yeah.
it's way before the Heoka spirit started working songs with me. So it's just a song from the eclipse itself. It's
Yeah.
not really Heoka, but what I did was take it and share it with the women's circle. And they just kept bringing in verse after verse. That's why it's so long. It goes on forever because they just kept bringing, what about this and what about that? And, this energy and that energy and their own experience. And it was really a co-creation. So I would love to take it one step deeper into co-creation and
Yeah,
collaboration.
and I'll tell you right now, it's a lot more Heyoka than you may be picking up. It's very deep. Becky, check your mic. Let's hear about that song.
How's my mic?
Oh, perfect. There you go.
Sound good, yeah.
Okay.
So tell us.
I didn't record it or anything. It was very spontaneous. I don't know if I could even repeat it now.
Yeah,
You
whatever's
get a little more
comfortable.
practiced at things like that.
Yeah, that's okay. Whatever you're comfortable with.
Okay. Thank you.
Is there any other particular thoughts in those lyrics that anybody wants to talk about? And if not, we'll move on to the next song that came with that eclipse.
Well, I do want to say here at I watch the souls of humans so quickly passing by. Inner power, like the vine, grows throughout our many lives. That's some deep stuff right there. It's all very deep. It's all very deep. That's a good one, Cal. It's a really good one.
Yeah, it's a good
So
one.
we're queuing up another one here.
It's in the chat too. Yeah, it's about time. And it actually has the images I took during that totality eclipse that passed over here in 2017. And again, look at the lyrics as you're listening to the song and see if anything speaks directly to you that you want to talk about so we can do some eclipse integration together.
Okay, I don't see the other one. Is it before that one or after that one?
Oh, it's in this chat. I'm sorry. You want me to
Oh,
put it in
okay.
the chat?
No, I can get it. I was looking in the other one. Ah, I found it. Okay. Hang on. It's not moving as easily out of here. Let me go cue it up. Hang on.
When this song came to me in the dream time, I threw it on the recorder and I kind of fussed at it because it came in the mighty alma mater. And I didn't know that meant the world mother. And I was thinking, are you singing about my college alma mater? Or are you waking me up to sing about my college alma mater? And what's this almighty stuff? I don't do this almighty stuff. You know, what's that about? And it took me a long time to work out the rest of the song because I was fussing at it. And then it went deep with those really old words that you hear. And it's really deepened me into them, the axis mundi, the anima mundi, the world soul, the connection of the lower realm and the higher realm through the middle realm, the axis mundi, or a lot of cultures call it the tree of life thing. I think we're all talking about the same thing. And there's actually another verse if you get inspired to rework this one, Shonda. My friend on the 12-string guitar played a unique tune, but I would like to add in that Unus Mundus, one world verse at some point in time. And I can put that link on Messenger somewhere else if I need to help you with that, Shonda. It's on my clipboard. Look at the images, those little shadows on the ground are what I remember the most. I was out by the sweat lodge and those little new moon looking shadows on the ground and all around were fascinating.
your time and often dream of it.
Yeah, this is a problem bringing them out of chat. Hang on a second, it'll buffer out.
Okay.
When the moon eclipses the sun, shining together on earth as one, experiencing totality, becoming more than you and me. I hear time and often dream of it. Save the almighty alma mater. Save the air and fresh clean water. Our elemental actions come together, restoring balance to the weather. I hear time and often dream of it. When the moon eclipses the sun, shining together on earth as one, experiencing totality, becoming more than you and me. I hear time and often dream of it. Save the old almighty anima mundi, the soul of the world feels so wounded. The fire of our actions heal her spirit. Wind in our heart helps us hear it. I hear time and often dream of it. When the moon eclipses the sun,
It's okay, Shonda, if you just want to share sound and not the video.
All right, let's try this again.
Know the lyrics if you want to.
I hear time and often dream of it. When the moon eclipses the sun, shining together on earth as one, experiencing totality, becoming more than you and me. I hear time and often dream of it. Save the almighty alma mater, save the air and fresh clean water. Our elemental actions come together, restoring balance to the weather. I hear time and often dream of it. When the moon eclipses the sun, shining together on earth as one, experiencing totality, becoming more than you and me. I hear time and often dream of it. Save the old almighty anima mundi, the soul of the world is so wounded. The fire of our actions heal her spirit. Wind in our heart helps us hear it. I hear time and often dream of it. When the moon eclipses the sun, shining together on earth as one, experiencing totality, becoming more than you and me. I hear time and often dream of it. Save the all almighty access mundi, reconnect to the ways before the wounded. All four directions come together, spiraling knowledge to the world tree. I hear time and often dream of it.
And the last verse that needs to be added is in the chat. See the all almighty Unus Mundus, the one world experience within us, synchronized flow from soul and psyche with all that is now and ever will be. Anybody want to talk about any of those lyrics? I put them in the chat again so you could see them, Free Bird, if you want to.
Well, the line about the earth as one experiencing totality, I think that is the gift of these remarkable acts of nature and of the higher realms. There were, you know, entire Turtle Island was together, at least in different sections of Turtle Island, were gazing at the same thing for at least 2.5 to 4 minutes in a out of at a combined time. And I think that's miraculous. And I do respect, I know many Native nations consider that grandfather, the union to come together to talk between grandfather sun and grandmother moon, and that is not something that is to. And I saw a lot of that coming across the airways. And what really surprised me is that I saw an argument unfold on Walking the Red Road yesterday. There was a native elder that came in and requested that nobody post pictures of the eclipse on Walking the Red Road because this was a time of seclusion for their particular tribe. I'm not going to mention names nor tribes out of respect, and it literally started a war.
Ooh, wow.
Yeah, because,
Mm.
um, everything from, oh, well, I'm native and we don't have that tradition, to all the way to, wouldn't it be best if you just stay offline? You
Oh,
know, why
really?
are you coming telling us, not to post this miraculous event and our experience of it? And,
Wow.
yeah, it was, you guys, like I said, this is
Nice.
as far as I'm gonna go, but it's all over Walking the Red Road. Started
Wow.
yesterday morning, yeah. So,
That's an interesting topic to bring out because it does objectify, you know, and that's a different experience. I really appreciated that Becky spoke of the reverence and that the Lakota story speaks of the love between the sun and the moon and how they can only visit on these occasions and the many stories, the many myths that go with many peoples. And there is though this current collective dominance culture of objectifying it, making it an object outside of ourselves rather than an inner experience of something bigger that is more than you and me, bringing us all together. So that's
yeah,
well
tell you
taken.
exactly I actually, this was late last night when I actually caught it. Of course, I was nowhere about to get in the middle of any of that, but I read through it because I was just amazed at how the energy was flowing back and forth between, different sects, just different opinions. And but I'll tell you what it did remind me of, and the remembrance didn't happen until actually right now that we're having this conversation. But during for the 3 months before the Palenque gathering, the Council of the Eagle, Condor, Quetzal, and Hummingbird met every Thursday at 6 o'clock. and I had been invited into those council meetings, knowing that I would be on the other end of the broadcast because that had already been discussed between Adriana and myself up front. So I was invited into those, and when the topic of how the broadcast would be handled on this end, there was and once again, I'm not, I'm going to try to give detail just enough for mental picture, but there was a Maya elder, a timekeeper, that not the one we know, okay, but there was another that spoke up about how some of these ceremonies are sacred, and how are we going to make sure that these are not accidentally filmed or covered, and there's no way these ceremonies are going to be on a broadcast, or no way that these can. And I'm not going to be able to quote his exact words, but I can get very close and a very good paraphrase coming out of Chief Phil Lane. And what he said was that we are in between worlds, and the times of secret ceremony are over. That the elders and the wisdom keepers of the indigenous need to rise, and they need to take their place as the wisdom keepers that they are, and they need to teach, and that there's no way to do that if everything you do still remains secret. You must disclose what these ceremonies are and teach their purpose and why they exist, for the understanding to rise of
Yeah, that's
how sacred they are. And it did end up that many ceremonies were, like, for instance, the constellation work that was not supposed to be covered, and they decided to broadcast it. But then, of course, we all remember what happened in that, and they did shut it down when the voice came in prophecy to the the one that was holding space for the future. And of course, that was part of the prophecy, is that it was to be a private discussion, and so they shut down everything. But the ceremony itself was, I mean, and then that was just that was one example. But of course, constellation work is not indigenous. That's just constellation work. So at the same time, but there were several others that they decided not to broadcast. But that's because they had, I mean, the Kogi were there, the Momus elders were there, so there's, it's not, and I agree with Phil on that, I really do. But I think respect needs to be given to the process of the opening itself. That has to be respected and done in every all of the wisdom keepers need to say, yes, I see that, I understand that, and we will start with this small step, you know not just completely, go. Yeah, so I think, just respect to the process itself, that it needs to be in their hands according to tradition, and actually what the actual clan mothers, or whoever's in the decision making process. But
well that
yeah, I mean, that was just, I mean, just to see that come down, just to see that come down, and in walking the red road of all places.
well that's why we're doing this here, because the critical link is the integration that avoids appropriation. Otherwise, it just all gets diluted and interpreted in the ways of the anthropologists that created so many problems. And, without direct experience coming into the formula and being shared in community and clarified like we're doing. That's why I'm really emphasizing this integration process that we're doing, and we're gonna hum when we finish, talking about these lyrics and deepen our integration. And Grandmother Raven said years ago, I mean, She's been on the other side for a couple of decades, and she started easing into it in the 80s when our ghost dance was allowed again, and she did it very carefully and very much in her strength. She stood strong in the way she brought back the teachings. And she said things like in her Wisdom Keeper sessions, if you need to laugh at our ways, this is a good time for you to leave. And people did not leave, but they did not laugh either. So we do need to take really good care in the way that we share, in the way that we integrate, and avoid appropriation at this time. So back to the lyrics. Any other questions about the lyrics that are in the chat? And if not, we will integrate with that humming and move to Becky's sharing when we're ready.
Um, I don't know whether this is appropriate or not, but um, dog. Uh, since 2011, I was on my way to school one morning, 6 o'clock boat, and the moon was right above the western horizon, but her face was tipped right back, like normally it's this way, it was right back. And that kind of freaked me out at the time. But I started thinking, like, I've never seen it do that. And now it's like sometimes the moon seems very out of place or very, very tipped. And you look for like explanations for that. What does that mean? Like, you know? And is it just a recent phenomenon, or like has it been seen in previous times? Like some interpretations is the Earth is actually wobbling quite a lot on its axis, like from its axis point, it's almost swaying back and forth. And right at the last minute, I don't know why NASA has this authority, but they changed the printed path of the eclipse just slightly, but it seemed like a really odd thing to do for something that was so well known to be happening. So I sometimes think if there are signs and no one's really making note of them, especially in our circles where we need to confer with one another about what is going on. What are we missing? Are we leaving something essential out? Because if it's true, the earth is wobbling, that means it can get fairly severe. And that severity will have effects that people, if they knew, could prepare for, mitigate. But if they're being completely left in the dark and it's taboo to talk about, then the fate of the people that are in the affected area is just what it is. They're not going to do what they might be able to do if they had foreknowledge of what's coming. I kind of was hoping for there to be more discussion around that during this time, since we're also focused on the positioning of everything in our solar system. Like, there were even some fairly significant alignments of the other parts of the solar system. There was also some of the correlation to biblical stories where this whole thing is occurring in the what's it called? All when all the planets make a constellation that is interpreted as being a whale by some cultures. And so it was happening in the middle of this whale constellation. So there was a lot of different things on the more calculated side. People remarking about these alignments and these different effects. So I just thought that was really, that will be interesting to follow up more. Understanding where we sit in the cosmos. Like we live in a neighborhood. That's the way I look at it. And we might be having some, our crazy cousins might be coming to visit, and they always come and mess up the whole house and eat all the food, and then they leave again.
Mhm.
What an analogy.
Yeah,
Oh,
Right.
I don't know. Just thinking
and then
about
could it be all the junk we've put in the atmosphere distorting your view? All the satellites, all the chemtrails, all the crap we've thrown up there.
oh, there's that too. Yeah, didn't
And,
equate it with that. Hmm. Well, there's a lot more of these multicolored iridescent clouds up there that didn't show up till about 15 years ago. So it must be maybe it's the chemtrail effect.
mhm.
Well, I don't I don't know where we are in the Earth wobble cycle, which I think is about a 7-year cycle. I know where this eclipse marks the halfway point of solar maximus. We're halfway through that cycle. So yeah,
Oh,
there are cycles. The Earth definitely wobbles, that's and that wobble, even changes the position of our north axis, as well. That's why I can't remember how many thousands of years it is that the North Star changes. Is it an eon, David? Do you remember? Is it an eon that changes the North Star? We're in now a Polaris is the North Star now, but in the last eon, and that has to do, with the wobble and everything, the all of the and there's other wobbles that combine with this wobble, and it's just a big wobbly bunch of mess, So anyway, but you can find all that, you can Google all that about the cycle of the Earth wobble and the change of the poles and all of that. It has to do, and a lot of doomsday sayers, you know, you hear a lot about that when that happens, when the North Pole shifts, everything, that's a period of destruction that everything gets turned upside down. But it's a natural process. But I think there are earth changes that come with that. See, I was bringing this up earlier. Becky, you tell me when you're ready to get into the kinship discussion. We'll close out this recording, but I was mentioning earlier that the day that I found out about the earthquake in New York, I knew there was going to be, and I'm never really like Lynn, Lynn picks up, and I don't want to tell her story, but according to what I've heard her say, she picks up earthquakes. She's very keen. She's like an intuitive of earthquakes. And I've never been to earthquakes, but I have been to hailstorms. And so I have documented the hailstorm here in this little small town in Watts, Texas, for the last 24 years. And I remember when I first moved here in the summer of 2000. And of course, I'm a data miner. I record everything, right? I've got tons of just paper copies of everything all over the place. So, but I do have a calendar that I've tracked that on. And I remember when I moved here, and I use this analogy. When I moved here, the first hailstorm when I moved to this little town was on St. Patrick's Day, which is the 17th of March. And it's progressively gotten later and later. And the weather cycles has gotten hotter and hotter and drier, except the last 3 years it has cycled itself into reverse. And I've been here 24 years, so it's a 20-year cycle that I had data on, and I saw that hailstorm move from March 17th all the way up to the end of April. And I can't remember that date, but I think it was April 24th was the latest. And the thing is, I always it's an instinctual thing now because I have been intentionally tracking it. Now it's like I can tell by just looking out the window. I see the movement in the pine trees down on the street. I see the movement in the um, fruitless mulberry that's right outside the window. I see the changes. I can pick all that up simply by looking out the window now. I used to go out and monitor it, and I used to, I've got a very advanced I don't know what you'd call them, it's a combination of it's barometers. It's a big plaque with all these different gauges on it that's literally in the foyer right inside my front door. So I had put that there to be able to open the door, let it set for a minute, and actually get the reading of, the dew points and everything. And so I've been able to get intense with this tracking. And I looked yesterday, actually night before last, because I was planning on putting my leg brace, doing the work, getting out there, doing my 8th bar burn yesterday, which I did. And but I looked at the weather night before last. We had on the 10-day forecast, we had upper 70s, lower 80s for the entire week, sunny. The high point of the wind, I think, was supposed to be this coming Wednesday at I think 14 miles coming out southwest. And so, I thought, okay, this is going to be great. I'm going to get out there. I'm going to clear, because, I've got a lot of, we shut down that research institute, and I've got a lot of stuff that still needs to be gifted and moved out of here. And I've got a lot of organizing to do because we broke down a 7-acre facility. So there's a lot of stuff that needs to be put away and built, got landscape tables that need to be turned into raised beds. I've got a whole bunch of stuff still work in process that I was working on when I got hurt. And so, more of the story, I went out there and it was an absolutely beautiful day, exactly as the forecast. I came back in here, and within 30 minutes of me coming back in, which was probably about 6 or 7, that's another reason. If you guys noticed, I launched a link into the Zoom last night. It was about a 7:30, I think. And yeah, it started right about 7:30. Um I heard the wind shift. It moved from the southwest all the way through the west and went to the northwest. I could feel it because my uh, I have picture windows here in my little cubby hole, and they face southwest. And I was watching it, and you could just see it, and I could feel it shifting around the corner. I could feel the wind move, and then it was about 10 minutes later it hit, and it came out of nowhere. And that was not, and all of a sudden my weather bug warnings, my beeper went off. And so, yeah, we had a hailstorm at about 8 o'clock last night, came out of nowhere. And I know that that was driven by the power of this eclipse. And I started sensing that when the New York earthquake hit. Because the thing is, we got into a conversation that day about what we feed. Because, somebody said, oh, there was a quake and earthquake in New York. I said, New York? Okay, that's weird. And I went and Googled it because I don't, I usually, if my intuition doesn't pick it up and I go trying to find what I'm feeling, if so, and I didn't pick up anything about that, and Lynn did, and she said she felt it before it hit, and so that conversation came up in the gathering. What ended up happening is it got off into this doom and gloom. Oh, here it comes, and it's the Kogi, and it's, we've got and before we know, we were in a doom and gloom, and I just, I broke the energy. I said, okay, this is what. Here's the thing, it's like. But after that, I mean, we ended up in a conversation about that we need to understand that we all feel that we are in between worlds. We do feel that we are leaving something behind and that we are part of a shift to come. We all feel that. We know that's where we are. But the thing is, what we put, I think we need to attempt to awaken our thoughts to a higher place. That when we start talking about, you know, we need to be careful, because if we are in between worlds, then what's going on? We're in the folding of time. That's the only way I know how to express it is the folding of time. That is what the Maya spoke about. And that was actually where that calendar ran out when everybody thought, oh, and it didn't run out. It's just, that's as far as they took it. They knew that there would be a 25-year period there. And that entire thing dove me into my cosmology, studying the calendar. And I learned a lot back during that time. But I also understood that they were not predicting the end of the world. It had nothing to do with that. That was the drama of humanity trying to be dramatic, right? And so I think where we are right now, where that drama's rising again, a drama's rising. So I would rather see us pull together in sacred space and keep the field, protect the field, because all of this is getting bombarded. And what moved upon me that day, and this is not something that I had anywhere in my consciousness, anywhere in my head, but during that conversation about what we were putting into the field and the earthquake in New York, and that's been a couple of weeks back already. But what rose up in me about that whole thing is I couldn't get that conversation out of my head. And what was sticking with me is that was the forerunner of many things to come. And this storm flipping on me, because here's the thing, that was nowhere in sight. And I have literally predicted within 4 hours when that storm was going to hit, just from being so intuitive to it, because I've been in close. I've walked with that hailstorm, that Texas hailstorm, for many years. And the reason I walk with it is because we don't plant until after it's gone. Because if we do, our crops are taken out. Because we're on the high plains desert. We don't have trees. We don't have, I mean, we have trees, right? But we don't have, we don't have forest lands here. We're on the high plains desert. And when it comes through, it takes everything down. So, and brings tornadoes and does other things. So that's where I'm at with this. I do feel that nature, I think Mother is rising. But I also don't feel that she's playing doomsday with us. I think she's in a natural cleansing process. And the reason I feel that is because I feel we're also gathering that consensus to shift the reality. I believe there are enough of us now that are holding higher space. I really do. And we're always going to look and see, you see it in politics, you see it in religion, you see it everywhere. It's like there was an old cliche, it's kind of tacky, but I heard it a long time ago, and I'm going to repeat it, even though it's so tacky, that when we start rising out of the cesspool of humanity, there is always some piece of shit that rises and grabs a hold of our ankles and tries to pull us back. And I mean, like I said, it's tacky, but if someone could find a more beautiful way to describe it, it would be great. But when you get that mental picture, because humanity, we have evolved into a cesspool, and we've got to rise above, we've got to pull ourselves out of that. And I feel that we are, but we have to be careful. Yeah, we have to be careful of what is trying to hold us down. Gail,
You
I
know,
see that bottle. Hold that up to the camera. That looks, oh, that's your little mini shell. Yeah, I wanted to get the perspective of how big that was.
my turtle shell.
Yeah,
Our prophecies say that we are in between the fourth world and the fifth world,
right.
and that we were originally the elders were the stones, the water, the plants, the animals, and they are all teaching us to be our highest and best humans. And if we don't catch on, then we will pass just like so many waves of humans have before us, but we can focus on learning from the animals, the plants, the water, and the stones to be the best humans and continue as long as we can walk in that way, in the verb-based way. And I think at this point, we can just hum for integration of what we've talked about today, and close our recording and give the time over to Becky, unless somebody has something they really want to say. I'm just burning some sage here in case you guys are wondering what I'm doing in my turtle shell. But does that sound good? Does everybody want to hum a little bit for integration of the eclipse and the discussion that we've had to avoid appropriation and integrate the things that have come up today, and then close out this recording and go to the kinship with Becky?
Yeah, let's do that.
Okay. Does anybody want to lead us in the humming?
Where's Free Bird? She's really good at that. Free Bird, are you there? She might be roaming around in the background.
This is Freebird. Yeah, I'm here.
Do you want to lead us in humming for integration?
Sure.
Okay, let's hum for just a little bit and then turn it over to Becky.
Okay.
Open your mic.
And as tradition in the gathering, when we stop our recordings, we say thank you to the energy in the room, and thank us all today for being here together in this sacred eclipse energy. And thank you to our wisdom keeper, Gail Thomas, for bringing this integration with us today. Aho, Wada.